All right, so now our final topic for dealing with factoring is going to be how do we factor expressions containing negative and rational exponents. So let's do a couple of examples so you can see how I do this. So the first thing is just like with any factoring, we want to look for the greatest common factor. So for this one here, we're always looking for the expression with the smallest exponent, just like I said before. Now, just because they're negative doesn't change that. So we look for the exponent with the smallest, the term with the smallest exponent. So in this case, the smallest exponent would be negative 6. So we're going to factor out a negative 6. There's no coefficients that have a greatest common factor, so we're not going to do anything with that. So we're going to factor out x to the negative 6. So now, what's left behind? Well, in this case here, if we factor out a negative 6, that leaves nothing here except for 1. So we're going to have a 2 there. Here, we get a 5. Now, what would we have to multiply by to get x to the negative 5th? Well, in this case here, we would have to have an x here. Okay? X to the first, because if we multiply through, remember we add exponents when they have a common base. So negative 6 plus 1 equals a negative 5. And then finally, we have 7x squared, because negative 6 plus 2 equals 4. Okay, so remember your properties of exponents. Okay, now we're not done because we never want to have negative exponents. So in this case, we're going to use the property that b to the negative 1 equals 1 over b, or more generally, b to the negative n can be written as 1 over b to the n. So we can always put it in either the denominator or the numerator to make it positive. So in this case here, since we're in the numerator and this is a negative, we're going to write this in the denominator and make the exponent positive. So this would be over x to the 6. And then that would be our final answer. Okay? Because and one more thing, we always want to write this in descending order, right? So 7, 5, 2. So we would want to write like that. And so that would be our final answer. Okay, what about this one here? What about the one here? We have rational exponents and they're negative. Right? So again, let's factor out the smallest exponent. Okay? So in this case, it'd be negative 1/2. So if we factor out to the 1/2, what do we get? Well, we get 2x plus 5 to the 1/2 power, right? But what's that going to leave over? Well, remember, we have to subtract off 1/2. Okay? Right? So we got a negative 1/2 here, positive 1/2, so this is smaller. So we're going to factor out negative 1/2. So what that's going to do is we're going to end up with what? So if we factor out 2x plus 5 to the negative 1/2 power, well, we're factoring out this. So that's going to leave x plus, now here we're factoring out a negative 1/2. So we're going to have to subtract a negative 1/2 from here. So 1/2 minus a negative 1/2 equals 1. Right? So I'm going to end up with 2x plus 5 right there. If you want to put this in parentheses so you can see it better. So all I did was I factored out this, which left me x, and then I factored out also this from this one, which left me this. Now I can simplify this, and this gives me 2x plus 5 to the negative 1/2, and then this becomes 3x plus 5. Now, the negative, I want that positive, so I'm going to bring it to the denominator. So I'm going to write it in the denominator as 2x plus 5 raised to the positive 1/2 power. And so my final answer becomes that. All right. So that's how you deal with negative and rational exponents when you're factoring.